Songs from the Moon is a 7-part podcast that blends music and spoken word to tell the story of a society gone horribly wrong, and one man's challenge to put things back on track. In Transmission 2 of Songs from the Moon, Cab shared his frustrations of a controlling state and his dilapidated confines on Luna, his romantic view of an Earth he can no longer reach, and after we meet his pet guitar, Gibby, we witnessed a forbidden jam session under the radiant backdrop of a rising Mother Blue. Transmission 3, The Black Wind. In this transmission, we meet Dad, Cab's Intel Butler, who fills us in on Cab's background and gives us a chilling first-hand account of the earth-shattering war known as The Break. Aside from being a life-size hologram of Cab's long-past father, Dad is unique in that he shares a secret set of memories with Cab of life on Earth before The Break, before humanity was owned by the state, when there was a life that was wild and was free. I'm Edward Eves. Welcome to Songs from the Moon.
Hello, I am Cab's father. Actually, I'm an interactive database made up of personality and memory files of Cab's real father when he was alive. Combined with Cab's ongoing recorded feed, I'm a bit like his sounding board, more like his punching bag. He calls me Dad. I'm his main link to the past, to our home, to Earth, when it was wild and free. You might call me a cocktail of 21st century Earth mixed in with Cab's, well, let's say, painful view of life here on the moon. Cab was always a bit of a rebel, but a very bright guy. An engineer by training, he put my program together to keep me around. But I think it's more about his obsession with the myth of Earth's past. Smart as he is, let's just say he's not lived up to his potential. He lives in a cold, retrofitted crater that creaks when it spins, and where stale oxygen tastes like ashes. He was orphaned at 14 and shipped out into space as he could no longer afford to stay on what was left of Earth. And now, 20 years later, he's approaching lifer status, meaning after so many years in low G, a return to Earth's gravity would crush his bones. I was glad to see he took my old guitar. He's a data manager. He hates his job, hates his life. I know he'd like to break the state's grip on the balls of humanity, or somehow crash the hypnotics behind the power show.
Welcome to the
But I'm not sure he's got it in him to be the hero or the fool. And he's pretty heavy-handed with his tune control. But his music, it brings him back. It's how he connects, keeps him human. Now, compared to the state's spin on history, I hold a unique and, I guess, tangible past for Cab. You see, I lived on Earth when people were free to go where they wanted, to say whatever they wanted. It was a time of democracy. We lived in a small farming village and would grow and actually cook our own food. I can remember riding my bicycle wherever I cared to go, as far as I could go, as fast as I could fly. In my time, life was a complicated harmony made up of trust, of ambition, and of respect. Person to person, country to country, person to planet, humanity to technology. But that harmony ultimately derailed. Was it greed, politics, whatever it was? The trust that held us together gradually disappeared. These days I remind Cab to be careful mentioning things like democracy. The state tunes in to such words with great acuity. You see, in your future, there will be a grave darkness. It's what Cab's generation calls the break. We called it the war. It was so devastating for everyone. The cause was simple. A political fight for resources, for territory, power. We would watch it on the news. A drone, a plane shot down here and there, led to a shootout in space of comsats, and the clowns who ran our world began to hack each other's sovereign grid, and the world went dark. It came on so quickly. I was traveling, and all I could think of was, I must get home. I remember someone saying all country borders have been closed, and this sick fear hit me like a ton of bricks. And when our idiot phones stopped working, panic in the streets began to rage. Seems the only systems that remained were military-run systems of war. And in that darkness, bombs began to drop. With the grid down, the networks that held us together failed, and all hell ensued. Roads jammed up in cities and suburbs. Neighbors fighting for basic resources turned on each other. It was a mad mob in a world strangled by the very technology it had created to keep it safe. And those of us who survived were left to navigate the crumbs of our world, guided by clumsy survival instincts, by fear, by hope. It was a war with no winners. I remember trying to find my family, stumbling through the chaos. Smoke rising from every horizon like a poison black wind. And it hit me that the course of humanity had changed forever. There would be no going back.
Well, the door was open wide, coffee cold and bed astray. She's gone without a trace, all meaning shattered sky. Rains down desperate times, and our course has changed forever. Where's she gone? Is she on her own? Does she have a plan? Is she down this road? As this empty grows inside of me, the fear of what I'll find is just a black wind in the distance, like the one I left behind. Now I drift through broken towns, full of sunken eyes from the deadly games of our suicide kings. Unbearably disconnected, all my hopes land rejected might be news up the road. I just need something I can hold. Where's she gone? Is she on her own? Does she have a plan? Is she down this road? Oh, as this empty grows inside of me, the fear of what I'll find is just a black wind in the distance. And we talked about heaven, where the mountains reach the sea, She'll be waiting there for me, waiting there for me. Talked about heaven, where the mountains reach the sea. She'll be waiting there for me, waiting there